Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with Batman number 92. And I absolutely love this variant cover. Like the A cover is okay, but I like this full cover of Punchline. It's just kind of nice to finally get a full cover of the new villain that Tynion's been building up, and I like the way he's been building her up and kind of taking his time. Now this story continues with the designer, and this is their Dark Designs Part 7, so let's go ahead and jump into who created the book. So for that, which kind of drives me nuts, but it's kind of neat, is you have to go to the end of the book, which is kind of like frustrating, but I don't want to spoil anything, so give me a minute here to find it. Got to flip through all the death metal previews, which quite a lot. But anyway, their Dark Designs Part 7. This is James Tynion IV writing. Guillem March, I think is how you pronounce his name. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. Tomu Moray doing the colors, Clayton Cowles lettering, Yasmin Putri with Tony Daniel doing the cover, and then I think the one that I have here is the Francesco Mattina variant, which I'm just loving it. And Batman was created by Bill Finger with Bob Kane. Now with that said, we can flip back to the front. See that cool Punchline cover again, which I'm really glad my local comic shop held this one for me. That really excites me because, yeah, reasons. Now you start off with the Penguin, and if you remember, I think it was Deathstroke that slit his throat in order to stall time for, to get away, so Batman had to drop Oswald here off at the hospital. And you start, and there's the stakes, if you remember from the last up to blur together. Deathstroke and Batman in the middle of Gotham, and you see the Riddler come up on this Jumbotron screen, kind of like downtown Manhattan in a sense. And I like how the Penguin says, "Oh, Eddie, what the hell have you gotten yourself into?" Because if you remember, this story with the designer focuses on the Joker, the Penguin, and the Riddler, because they're the ones that tried to make a deal with this guy back in the day, and the Joker kind of flushed that down the tubes for everybody. Now, what I like here is, as you pull back on this panel, you just start to see the scope of how far the Riddler has Gotham in its control, and you start to see all these walls come up. So I just really like that. In a sense, it reminds me of like Arkham City or something when you're playing the game. But yeah, just really cool idea there. And then I love this mini splash page here of Batman and Deathstroke, and they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And they're both confused about it. But I hate how they're drawing the Riddler. Like, at least, let me put it this way. Here he looks like he's cracked out on something. He kind of reminds me of Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad in a sense. And then I didn't like how he was drawn during the Tom King era, how he put that question mark tattoo on his chest. I did like the Greg Capullo design from the New 52, and then of course how he was originally drawn. But this, I don't know, for me, I guess it's because it's too Jim Carrey. It reminds me of like the Schumacher Batman and Robin Jim Carrey, and it just does not work in the book for me personally. But that doesn't suffice to say that I like the dialogue and how it starts to build the stakes. Now, even though, again, like I don't like the Riddler design, I do like how it looks terrifying here, because he's basically has blocked off all of Gotham, and Batman has to answer all these questions. And the Riddler doesn't want to play around. He's like, no cheating, Batman. And there's something that he does where he can verify that Batman does not cheat. And then we have a moment with zombie cops, which if you were wondering what that is, check out the book. And so, Batman's not really taken into the Riddler's shenanigans, so he starts to kind of play, in a sense, by his own rules, but enough to appease the Riddler. And we get the Bat Train. And I just love how Deathstroke's like, you're kidding. A bat train? Just get on. And then, okay, so this is happening. And I like how the Batman's kind of goading the Riddler to give him questions. Because as you find out, which if you don't want to be spoiled, go get the book and then come back. And you're back. Gotham is broken up into like a crossword puzzle. And so the Riddler is able to, do like a crossword where he'll say, for example, we'll do this one. 10 across, 11 spaces. A woman shoots her husband, holds him underwater for 5 minutes, hangs him, and then takes him out to dinner. How is that possible? And without even looking at the board or having to think about it, he just goes, photography. She took a picture of him. And the Riddler's like, you're cheating. You cut my communications, Eddie. I can't cheat. And I just like how he's sitting, how March here shows Batman sitting in his command center, and he is just like the boss. And he's just kind of sticking it to the Riddler. Just great work by the art team here. And I like how, it enhances Tynion's story, which is what the art is supposed to do. And with all that said, we're introduced to the Underbroker, which I have a feeling that I've seen him before. I can't remember if it was from the Silencer or if it was from that not to bash it, but that horrible Batman Eternal. That was such a long, unnecessary story arc. But yeah, and that Selina kind of becomes the kingpin of Gotham. And I don't know if this is like the kind of like remnants from that arc. If you guys know, let me know down in the comments. But again, I like how when they introduce characters, and I said this in my old Silencer reviews, which I will try to get back up. But you have like the Underbroker, etc., so forth. It kind of reminds me like little John Wick stuff for like underworld bankers, yada yada yada, which is really interesting. And Selina and Harley end up in this the Underbroker's place, which if you want to know how, read the book. And you see the silhouetted figure. I thought you assured us we wouldn't have company. I'm a deal maker, darling. I'm always open to a plan that benefits everyone. Trust me, anything that benefits them isn't going to be tenable. We're after the same thing, after all, boys. And then, Catwoman and Harley, who the hell are you? Well, if you two are the jokes, and trust me, I've been watching. You are the jokes. Then I'm the punchline. I'm where you end. Finally, we get to see, some dialogue from Punchline, which we don't know anything about her other than, she's the Joker's new kind of flame in a sense. But I like, as you get into this, you start to see this cold calculatedness about her, which we'll get into in a moment. But when you look at her makeup, you know how she kind of has like this doll effect going on, which sort of kind of has like a cyberpunk look to it. And then, of course, the blush on the cheeks. She kind of reminds me of Pris from Blade Runner. So if you guys get that vibe, let me know, or where this kind of reminds you. But yeah, I think it's a cool design, and I like that here in the Bat books we're finally getting a new bad guy. Or, I like whenever there's a new character introduced like that. Now, I don't want to ruin all this, but I have to read the dialogue, because I like the cold calculatedness of her, as I just said. So check this out. Harley, being all LOL so random, as she was not back in the day, she goes, I don't get it. Are you a fan? I'm definitely not a fan. Oh, she's got attitude, cat lady. Harley, we don't have time for banter. Hey, yeah, we don't have time for you. We're robbing a bank. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here. I'm robbing the same bank. I'm doing it first. Wait, why are you dressed like that? She's the Joker's new girlfriend, Harley. I'm his partner. So I kind of like how Harley's just like, oh, do, which, if you guys have read old Batman comics, she was never this zany, which with this new era of her, I can't stand it. And that's why I like Punchline here, because she has not broken really any looks, just other than a sly smile. And that's what I meant by like this cold calculatedness about her that used to be part of Harley's persona. And Harley is like, are you funny? You don't sound funny. You know what's going to be funny? What I do with your skin. He's like, no, that's not funny. It works. You need a voice and an attitude. Really? I think I just need a few sharp knives. So yeah, that's great. And then there's a moment with the Underbroker and Catwoman, which I really like, because it just sort of reminds me how Selina can be resourceful, just like Batman in her own ways, and I don't want to ruin that. But what's funny is there's a moment with Batman, the Riddler, and Deathstroke. So he has Deathstroke in tow while they're trying to hunt down the Riddler. And Deathstroke's just like, this is every night for you. Huh. Most of them, yeah. Why the hell do people live here? So yeah, I don't want to give any more away, but I really kind of wanted to dive into the Punchline moments because, again, I don't want to sound negative, but I do feel like it's time to retire Harley, or at least kind of put her in the back seat, because pre-Flashpoint, yeah, she was funny and she could be zany at times, but you were afraid of her because you didn't want to cross her, because just as the moment she's smiling at you, she would bash your brains in the next. And her jokes were kind of on point. But, they did Flashpoint, and then she was just kind of like this, holy kabloy, the moy, the bagalaloy. If you've read the new Harley Quinn comics, you know what I'm talking about, and the jokes are terrible. And that's why I like how Tinian kind of captured an old essence of her as he was doing this. But now that I've finally gotten to read Punchline and kind of see her characteristics, she has a lot of the calculatedness of Harley. And if you want more of an example, definitely read Dini's Gotham City Sirens, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about in terms of Harley, and then compare it against this. So I'm excited to see what they do with her, and I hope that this doesn't become a throwaway character, because I'm kind of enjoying it and seeing how the Joker got his hooks in her like he did with Harley. So anyway, with that said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this comic book, please make sure to support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. And if you've enjoyed this review, we'd definitely appreciate it if you hit like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd hit that fancy little Punchline bell next to subscribe. That way as we continue to upload content. As I just said, we'd love to hear your feedback and have a dialogue with you in the comments or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.